Who's actually going to get the most out of a 45-inch OLED gaming screen, and who should just keep scrolling past it? Is the price justified for someone who plays a mix of competitive shooters and story-driven single-player titles? Or is it a luxury that only true enthusiasts can afford? Those are the questions that keep most buyers up at night, because the wrong choice can mean a huge dent in the budget and a desk that looks better than it actually performs. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When you first see the LG Ultragear 45GX950A on paper, the specs read like a billboard: a 5K 2K WUHD OLED panel, 0.03 milliseconds response, 165 Hz refresh, HDR 400, DCI-P3 98.5% coverage, FreeSync Premium Pro and G-Sync compatibility. It's easy to get lost in the numbers and forget the real-world experience. I've spent the last few weeks pulling apart how that pixel-perfect promise translates to a typical gamer's living room, a cramped desk, and even a weekend LAN party setup. What mattered most were the things you can't see on a spec sheet: how the screen behaves when you swap between a fast-paced FPS and a cinematic RPG, how the OLED's true black performance affects eye strain during marathon sessions, and whether the price tag still feels fair after you factor in hidden trade-offs like burn-in risk and the need for a solid HDMI 2.1 source. Let's start with who should consider buying this monitor. If you're a competitive player who lives and breathes 144 Hz and above, the 165 Hz refresh combined with a 0.03 milliseconds gray-to-gray response time means the screen can actually keep up with the rapid motion you demand. In practice, that translates to almost no visible ghosting when you're strafing in a title like Valorant or Call of Duty. The G-Sync and FreeSync Premium Pro support also do a solid job of eliminating tearing, so you get a clean, fluid image even when your GPU can't quite maintain a locked frame rate. Because it's an OLED, each pixel can turn off completely, delivering what LG calls true black. In a dark bedroom or a dimly lit gaming cave, that contrast makes shadow detail pop in horror games like Resident Evil Village and gives you a distinct visual edge in darkroom shooters where you need to spot a faint glint on a distant enemy. If you also enjoy high-resolution, story-driven games or media consumption, the 5120x2160 resolution is a big win. A 45-inch screen at that pixel density lets you sit a comfortable distance away, roughly 3 feet, while still seeing razor-sharp textures in titles like Cyberpunk 2077 or the latest open-world RPGs. The DCI-P3 98.5% color gamut means the colors are vivid but not oversaturated, which is a sweet spot for gamers who want a cinematic feel without the colors looking like a neon billboard. I tested it with a 4K Blu-ray movie and the HDR 400 bump gave a noticeable lift in brightness, but the real magic came from the OLED's ability to keep dark scenes truly dark while still delivering bright highlights. That contrast is something you just can't replicate on a typical LED gaming monitor. Now, who should skip it? First off, anyone on a tight budget should think twice. The price sits well above most 27 to 32-inch gaming panels, and the size itself can be a deal-breaker if you don't have a desk that can handle a 45-inch footprint. The monitor also requires a graphics card that can push high frame rates at 5K 2K resolution to truly benefit from the 165 Hz refresh. If you're still gaming on a mid-range GPU that tops out at 1080p or 1440p, you'll end up spending a premium for a resolution you can't fully exploit. Another practical consideration is the OLED burn-in risk. While LG has added pixel shift and screensaver features to mitigate it, anyone who runs static UI elements like a persistent HUD in an MMO or a constantly displayed chat overlay needs to be disciplined about rotating content or using dark themes to avoid ghost images over time. If you're the type of gamer who leaves the monitor on 24/7 with a static logo, you might be better off with a high-refresh IPS panel. There are a few hidden trade-offs that most buyers overlook until they start using the screen day-to-day. The first is the need for proper ventilation. OLED panels generate heat, and the Ultragear's slim design means you'll want to keep the back panel clear of clutter. In my test setup, I placed the monitor on a wall-mounted arm, and the extra airflow helped keep the panel temperature stable during long esports sessions. The second is the HDMI 2.1 bandwidth requirement. To actually drive 5K 2K at 165 Hz, you need an HDMI 2.1 cable and a GPU with HDMI 2.1 output. Older cables or a DisplayPort-only rig won't unlock the full potential. That's not a showstopper, but it's an extra cost and a compatibility check that many overlook. Practical strengths aside from the headline specs include the built-in game mode presets. LG's on-screen menu offers a FPS mode that boosts the response time even further by slightly lowering input lag, and a cinema mode that preserves